organize. Everything I do's revolutionize. I build what's good for the whole damn hood. Study G's like these, really think you should. I studied Malcolm Garvey.
All right, peace everyone, and I'm very glad to be here. I heard some interesting things earlier in reference to hip hop, and I come from a generation when I heard the 40 and below, I was like, I'm out of that loop. But I come from a hip hop era where hip hop was very conscious. It wasn't what you see now, the booty shaking, the half-butt naked women, and that type of stuff. It only got that, part of the reason they got that way, I came from where they were conscious. Queen Latifah was talking about strong black women, and they were all wearing their African medallions, and you seen the red, black, and green, and Latifah was very much into that, and most of our artists were. But what happened was our government and people like the Department of the FBI feared that, and when you hear the panel talking about a black messiah rising, there was to be a black messiah. Mostly every generation you will see people like Dr. King, Malcolm X. But what happened to that? We don't have one now. Most people look at Al Sharpton now, and you know he was the FBI informant. And he's come out with that and said he was, and there's certain reasons why Al became an FBI informant. But our black messiah was destroyed during the crack era. So in our midst now, had it not been for the crack and what crack did to our community, there would be a messiah right now that we would be following like we did with Malcolm X. So with that and the FBI and their files on everyone they destroyed, they never wanted a black leader. Dr. King, put fear in them. And he was talking peace. Malcolm X was talking about, with any means necessary, I'm not going to just let you water hose me down. I'm going full for it. And people think that King and Malcolm were at odds, but in reality, King was saying, yeah, I got my people carrying guns too. We're just going to go on a peaceful level because I come from a church background. So when we talk about the FBI is the #1 destroyer of our communities. Right now, they listen to my phone. They tell, some calls I get, they'll say, we're listening to you and we just want you to know it. And we'll tell people that are calling you. What happened in the case with my father, he's a Black Panther here in Philadelphia. And back in around 1970, a young black boy, you can remember the police department, you probably don't remember, but back in the 70s there was Rizzo, who was actually working with the police force, and then he became mayor. But what happened with Rizzo was he seen also the Black Panthers doing stuff in the community, like the food drive tomorrow. It was the same thing that the Panthers were doing, but this government became real fearful because they want to take care of you with welfare, but yet it keeps you a little below. But don't get me wrong, I see welfare for some folks as a stepping stone. But sometimes some people get so wrapped into it they can't come out of it. But with that fear of someone rising up, becoming a messiah, the Panthers were seeing a lot of people in their communities being gunned down by the cops. The same thing that goes on now. We just seem like we're immune to it right now. But last year, I think there were about 13 people that were killed by the cops. And when you see a cop getting killed, there's a parade for him. There are officers coming from different states to salute that officer that was gunned down. Well, we don't, in our communities, when someone is killed by an officer, we let it run off our back. And last year, I think almost 13 people, the year before, 13 people were gunned down by officers, and we just let it go by. Where we should have some memorials for our people being gunned down, because everyone that's gunned down by a cop wasn't robbing someone and they weren't chasing them for some crime they had committed. They sometimes were just gunned down. So with that, Rizzo became very ruthless with his cops, and he feared the Panthers because the Panthers were doing excellent things in the community, and he told them to stop, and they said no. This young 16-year-old boy was running for the cops, hadn't done anything, but he was just fearful, and he was just running. In the 70s, he ran into his home, and the cops gunned him down right in front of his mother in the kitchen. So the Panthers retaliated, and an officer was killed, which it's not that they take pride in that, but the officers saying they were coming back and they would kill any youth they wanted to kill in your black community. They said, yeah, you go ahead, y'all rally for one day, that's all y'all do. Y'all like to come together and march, and it'll be back to the norm. We can do what we want. But the Panthers said, no, we're not going to let you keep coming in our community gunning down kids right in front of their parents. And they took a stand. And they started protecting their communities, and then the cops began war on them. So when the officers were getting killed by Panthers, it was only because they were at war. The Panthers didn't start out at war. They started out protecting their communities and feeding their communities. So what you guys need to look into, and I'm going to explain to you what a political prisoner is, and then I'll be done. There's a tape called FBI's War on Hip-Hop Artists. Now, it's deep, because when you see a lot of these artists that are winding up in jail, they tell some of these, they listen on their phones so they can set these artists up, and then our youth in the community look at that and think, hey, it's cool, you know, he got locked up, I can get locked up too. But I wonder how many of you knew that or heard that Tupac had shot 2 undercover officers? Do anyone know about that? You do? Okay. A lot of people don't know, because all we hear is about Tupac getting shot up in a record studio in New York, and then there was a altercation that would eventually happen, and then there would be a battle between the East Coast and the West Coast. That was all set up by the FBI. It was all set up. And Tupac one night was in his car, and 2 undercovers came to kill him because he started talking about the Panthers. If you know his history, his father's a political prisoner. His stepfather's a political prisoner right now. His name is Matula Shakur. And Tupac started going to visit him. And the last time Tupac got arrested, if you see him on the tape, he has a yellow t-shirt on. Tupac is saying, man, I'm not going to sell my people out. This woman's son just got gunned down by a cop. I'm going to do a free concert for her. I'm going to start doing free concerts in the community. I'm going to help my people. Whatever I got, they got it. And this government, this system, whatever you want to call it, the FBI, they don't want to hear that. So they had to take him out of here, because that Messiah that we didn't get during the crack era, he was starting to rise up and speak the truth about what's going on in the community. And they went to take him out of here. But Tupac shot both of the officers. You know that? But you never hear that. And he wasn't arrested for it, because the officers approached him to kill him. But you'll hear about all the other stuff. So get that tape, FBI's War on Hip-Hop Artists. You get that tape, and I can give you a number where you can get it. It's 267-456-7882. And it tells about Jay-Z, how he sold out, and that's why he's at the top now. And 267-456-7882. And it's a DVD, it's awesome. It's only $10, and it's going to give you that truth that you need to know with the FBI war on our hip-hop artists. Okay, so do anyone know what a political prisoner is? So we can wind this up. Okay, did anyone know about Nelson Mandela? Nelson Mandela was a political prisoner. A political prisoner is someone who stands up in their community and fight for what's right, who stands up and protect their community. That is a political prisoner. What did South African youth have? They didn't have any guns. They didn't have any tanks. They had rocks. But they freed their political prisoners. When you seen the tapes and the news come on and they were being gunned down, but they were going to free their political prisoners. They knew Mandela was one of their messiahs and they wanted them free. And even if it took their lives, they were going to do it. They were not afraid to lose their lives. I admire those youth because of the stand that they took. If you look at Tunisia, I don't know if you guys been in the, recently with the news, they have overthrown their government. Within the last 2 days, they have made the president leave and his assistant. And the president said, wait a minute, I'm going to give you food now. I'm going to give you proper jobs. They said, it's too late. It's too late for that. So that just happened yesterday. So they are so scared of our youth, because youth are the movement, that they will sell you out through these whack, weak rap artists that are selling out also, because youth will build a movement and they can kill any government. So, with my father, he's been in jail 39 years. His name is Russell Schultz. He started the Black Unity Council in Philadelphia back in about 69. 72, he went on a run for that officer being killed at 63rd and Cobbs Creek Park. His name was Von Collins. 5 men are still in jail to this day. 9 years ago, they found the trigger man. They shot this officer. My dad been saying he was innocent all the time. He's been targeted because he was a Black Panther. He's been locked down in 23-hour-day lockdown, which now is fashionably calling, they fashion it by calling it restricted housing units, SMUs, but really they're just a hole. And my dad has been in the hole for more than 30 years. He's locked down, 23-hour lockdown. He's where Mamiya is at SCI Green. So we're fighting now. We have letters to get him out of solitary confinement. I was just told over the phone with one of the people who see him every 90 days to determine if he's going to get out, is that he's a leader. We don't want him around the young boys in the prison. And I mean, I had this on tape with the lawyer. I had called my lawyer when the prison called me and I said, can I get someone on the phone? He said, yeah. So the lawyer didn't answer, so I just pushed the button to tape. And they said, you don't know that your father's a leader? And I said, no, I know he's an old man now that's been in prison for 39 years for a crime he didn't do. No, I don't know him as a leader. I know him as this guy who needs to be released in the population. What they're telling me is that they want him to show the youth, if they let him out, he must show all the young boys how to act. They want him to start with a mopping job where all the boys on solitary unit can see him and they get out and act better. Prison now has become big business. My dad at SCI Green, 3 years ago, over 22 young boys in their 20s hung themselves. Daddy said they come strolling in, and within 6 months they walk like zombies. They cannot handle the 23-hour lockdown. So I called the prison. What's going on? Oh, well, we're going to revamp the heating system. This is how they hang in there. So we don't get that type of news from SCI Green because it's closer to Pittsburgh. So that kind of news we really don't get. But a lot of the youth from our communities are being sent hours away without family being able to get to the prisons. So therefore, 22 boys in their 20s hung themselves. They can't handle it. My dad, fortunately, his wills has been spinning for 39 years and he's mentally still sane, but he's considered a leader, so that's why he's being locked under the prison, along with other political prisoners from the time of the Panthers that are locked down. So what we want you to remember is that my main goal for being here is to let you know that there are political prisoners right here in the United States, where our government says we don't have political prisoners. where, if you remember Graney, the sergeant in the war in Iraq, do you remember those Iraqis being posed butt naked and they were torturing the prisoners? Well, that guard came right out of SCI Green. Our United States prisons are training guards to go across seas and torture and kill people. And they train it in our prison. Graney came out of SCI Green. And now they're talking about allowing him to work again in the prison once he gets out of jail. Because the government did give him time. So in any case, please don't forget our political prisoners. Please don't allow this government to lock up all our black youth. Not only our black male, our black women. And black women are the backbone of our community. When there is nothing else, you got a black woman standing tall. Crack was something that kind of bent the back of the black woman. And I don't hold it against anyone that's been on crack, because there was no other drug, heroin and nothing else, that could bend a community like crack did to our black women. Now we're bouncing back from crack now. A lot of our kids are messed up. You can't talk to them. And some of the women are still behind bars. I work with my dad's group. My dad started an organization for behind bars called the Human Rights Coalition Group. And we're at 43rd and Lancaster Avenue. So every day I'm on the phone 4 hours fighting for people who loved ones are in prison. They call the prison just shoot them down. They just shoot them down, but I know how to get through and get that brother some help, get him out of lockdown. But the fight is the biggest fight I have, get my dad out. They don't want him out because he will lead those guys. And so we want you to do that. You got to know that this prison system is going to kill us if we don't step forward, take control of our community, and tell this government to give us schools, not prisons.
Everything I do's revolutionize. I build what's good for the whole damn hood. Study G's like these, really think you should. I study Malcolm Garvey Huey, Marshall Cody with the Uzi, listening to Fela Kuti. I'm a